Now here's a little bit of a close-up on the C major chord. Again, the scale, starting the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We play the first note, the third note, and the fifth note at the same time, which is the C, the E, and the open G, and that is a C major chord. The 1, the major 3, and the 5 from the C major scale. Now, you remember that we actually had this shape as a C major chord, though. So what's this guy doing up here? Notice that what this finger is holding down is another C an octave higher. So, 1, 3, 5, and 1. You can also play the high E, because that is the third an octave higher. So, let's continue the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. So, this is a 1, this is a 3. The open G is a 5. This note C on the first fret of the B string is another 1, or an 8, an octave higher. It's another C. And this note E up here is another third, an octave higher. So, what this amounts to is that this shape, like every major and minor chord shape that you know, is some configuration or convenient way to play to isolate only the 1, 3, 5 of its respective scale in order to form its chord. You only need to play the C, the G, E, and the G in order to form a C major chord. But these strings are available, and if we play other strings and we have other notes options available, we can also get different sounds. They're called inversions, and we'll talk about that later. The point is that these strings are available, so why not make use of them? The most convenient way is to place your finger here, because the G and the E are part of the C major chord. They're notes from the C major scale that we need for the chord. So we'll hold all of them down. You'll notice too that since we play this E here and this E here, I've said E is the major third of the C major scale, therefore it's part of the chord, which means we can also play this bottom E open. The only problem with that is it makes it sound very muddy. But it is a legitimate part of the chord. It makes it a different voicing, is what that's called. However, for convenience of understanding and practicing, what we usually do is we start by saying, let's play chords with the root note, the 1 of the scale, as the lowest note so that you will hear it and so that you will see it and get used to it before we get into any more complicated chords with the third or the fifth or some other chord tone on the bottom. So, every chord that you know so far is some way of isolating the 1, 3, 5, and only 1, 3, 5, 1, 3s from their respective scale. The C major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The C major chord is 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. So remember, a chord comes from a scale. You take a scale, in this case the C major scale, and then you isolate the 1, the 3, and the 5 from the scale, and then you get its respective chord. The C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, isolate the 1, 3, 5, 1, and then you get the C major chord.